Mic check, mic check, mic check. We are live. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining me on the show tonight. This is Steps Edit Podcast. episode 12. We've been doing this for 12 weeks strong. Y'all been rocking with your boy, and we're here. So, once again, good morning, good evening, good afternoon for those of you who are watching this on the playback. For those of you who are watching me live, good evening. Thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with your boy today. This is the Steps Edit Podcast. I am Stephen B., and I am the proprietor of Steps Edit, my space, my place, my little platform on the World Wide Web. And I did say my little platform, but please understand, I'm not lowballing it because we're growing. We're getting bigger, we're getting stronger every week. And so, again, welcome to the show. So excited to have you all on with me on this evening. And of course, as things would happen, I'm no stranger to technical difficulties. I'm no stranger to things not working the way they supposed to work when they supposed to work. And so we're going to keep moving, keep pressing. But I do want to pull my presentation up because of the show that we're doing on tonight. There are some very key points that I do want to show. And I want to be able to put them up on the screen for you all so you can see them. And so just hang tight here with me just a little while I get these things worked out. Once again, this is what I do on a daily basis. I'm an IT guy, so I'm always having to troubleshoot things on the fly. And so we're going to keep rocking, keep rolling, keep moving, keep doing what we do. I am, come on. Again, I want to thank you all for joining me on this evening. I do appreciate you all so much for hanging in here with me and doing this portion of my life with me. Once again, this is episode 12. This is week 12 of the Steps Edit podcast. We started this journey on February the 8th, on my birthday of 2024. And for those of you who've been hanging out with me for a little while, y'all know I've been talking about doing a podcast for a while now. And so I finally went ahead and bit the bullet, got some things in place, did what we needed to do. And so we are here. And so, oh, you didn't do what you were supposed to do. That's fine. We're going to ride with it anyway. So, Steps Edit phrase of the day. Last week we had a word of the day. Those of you who follow me, the word of the day last week was hovely. This week, the phrase of the day is thank you. Once again, I've been doing this for 12 weeks now, and thank you all for supporting. Thank you all for encouraging. For those of you who have been consistently watching the show with me, you've been giving me your feedback. For those of you who have been submitting letters, thank you so much for giving me content to share. For those of you who've been on the show with me as my special guest, thank you. For those of you who've provided gifts, provided swag, provided content information, provided feedback, thank you. For those of you who just hang in here watching with me just to see what I'm going to say, thank you. For those of you who watching to see if I'm going to fail, thank you. For those of you who are watching just to have something to talk about on the positive or the negative, thank you. I appreciate you all for being a part of this journey with me. It means the world to me. I can be very honest and transparent. There are times where I'll start something and I'll have an amazing idea and I'll get started with the idea and then things just kind of drop off. I'll have an amazing plan and things will drop off. I'll have, I'm chomping at the bit. I'm really, really excited. And then for whatever reason, things may not work the way I feel like they're supposed to work, or they might not go the way I feel like they're supposed to go. And so again, I'm being transparent, and I'll give up in the middle of the process. Uh, Very good friend of mine. He was actually one of my special guests on the show, Maximus Wright, several years ago when he and I reconnected. One thing he would always say is start where you are, use what you got, and finish what you start. And I have in this venture specifically, I have adopted that mantra. I have attacked it, and we've been consistent for 12 weeks. And again, we've been growing. You all have been giving me amazing content. You've been giving me amazing feedback. And so again, the Steps Said It phrase of the day is thank you. I was gonna try to figure out how I could say it in all the other different languages. Thank you. That's all I got. I know gracias. I know merci. I know Dankeschön or Danke. Um, I know appreciate you. For those of you who speak fluent Ebonics like I do. But at the end of the day, the phrase is thank you. And so big ups, big claps to all of my supporters, to all of my fans, to all of my super fans, to all of my haters. Thank you. These claps are for you. So I just want to thank you all again for rocking with your boy during this process. I appreciate you all so, so, so very much. So now tonight we're going to go ahead and jump into our letter. It's just going to be me tonight. And so I don't have a special guest this week. I don't have anybody who's going to jump on live tonight. But we are going to talk about something that's very key, very important, and some good information that all of you all need. So I always ask that you all share, like, but I'm going to ask right now for those of you who are watching, if you would go ahead and share this live, share this podcast right now. Let people know that you are watching. If you're on my personal page, I'm going to ask that you come on over to the Steps Edit page. Um, and the reason why I want to do it that way is because I'll go back on the playback, and I'll see that there'll be a lot of comments that showed up on my personal page, but I'll miss them because I'm monitoring the comments via this platform. I'm monitoring the comments on the Steps Edit page, and so I'm asking those of you who are watching on my personal page, if you would just come on over to the Steps Edit page. Same content, same information, but it does allow me to see your comments live, and we can share those comments on the air. And so here we go. Here is our letter for today. It says, Dear Steps Edit Podcast, I have received so many notifications about data breaches lately. It's caused me to feel anxious about it, and I'm not sure where to begin on protecting myself against fraud. A few weeks ago, I heard a story about a scam that happened to Andy Cohen. And just last week, another story about a financial columnist experiencing a similar issue. The techniques that are being used by such criminals now are much more advanced and believable than ever before. Excuse me, I knew it was coming. And it's scary, to be frank. Today, I received a notification from AT&T about another data breach, and I'm beginning to feel a bit overwhelmed. Do you have any recommendations on what I can do to protect my identity and finances? Thank you in advance. Regards, protecting what's mine. So again, this is very, very good information. Thank you so much for submitting this letter. I have some great information and some things that are going to be very helpful. This is something that I deal with on a daily basis in my regular 9 to 5. I'm an IT guy by trade, one trade. I'm an IT guy. And so dealing with cybersecurity and securities and things like that are part of my day-to-day activity. And so I can definitely provide you with some information and some things that will help you. The first thing that I do want to say is we are vigilant, but we do not live in fear. Okay. Now I have a whole slide presentation. I'm gonna bring it up here in a moment. But I do want to reiterate: we are vigilant, but we do not live in fear. We pay attention, but we do not, because when you start doing things in fear, when you start moving out of fear, fear can be very debilitating. Fear can almost cause a degree of paralysis. Um, I have seen people who, and this is not a cyber fear, but I've seen people who will see something that they're afraid of, like a spider or a snake, and they become so afraid that they freeze. And so I'm saying all of this to say, as we go over these things, and I'm going to be very clear, I'm going to be very open and honest. But the first thing I want to say is, I understand that things can be frustrating and things can be overwhelming and things can be like, it's a lot. And now, whereas you were more concerned about someone coming in and knocking your front door in and stealing all the stuff you had in your house, now you have to be concerned about somebody coming in and coming through the back door of your cyber home and stealing all of your information. And in some cases, it's more damaging when they do it that way than if they kick your front door in. And so, to the person who submitted the letter, thank you so much for submitting this letter. And so let's jump into some information. So here we go. One of the first things that you can do to safeguard your personal and professional information online, your cyber identity or your electronic identity. Number one is you want to make sure you're always using strong passwords. You want to create complex passwords with a combination of letters, numbers, and special characters, and avoid using easily guessable information like birthdays or names. Um, this is very important. You don't want to use something simple like password 123. You want it to be something that is not easily guessed. And as a matter of fact, those of us in the IT world, we encourage people to go from a password to a passphrase. A passphrase is not just one word, but it's an actual phrase that you use. And then in addition to the phrase, you change some of the traditional letters into special characters. One of the ways that you do that is, instead of using the letter A, you use the at sign. Instead of using the letter T, you use the number 7. Instead of using the letter E, you use the number 3. And so if you look at it, you can read it, but from a cyber standpoint or from an electronic standpoint, it's not something that's easy to guess. And so if I were to spell my name, I would spell my name something like, and I'm safe to do this because this is not my password, so I'm okay. So my name is spelled Stephen. If I were using it as a password, I would do something like $73PH3N. And so that's not, even and again, don't use your name. I'm using this as an example so that you could see how you would use special characters and things of that sort to create a password. Now, you do want to use something that's easy for you to remember. And there's a frustrating portion that comes along with this that we're going to get to in a moment. But again, the first safeguard that you want to use is to make sure you're using a strong password. Now, something that we should also avoid, and I am so guilty of this, but you should never use the same password for everything. I know. I know. And again, I'm guilty of it. But you should never use the same password for everything. Well, Stefan, why shouldn't I use the same password for everything? That's a great question. I'm glad you asked. Because if you use the same password for everything and your password is compromised, then whoever got access to your password, they now have access to everything. And so you want to make sure that you are not using the same password. Even if it's the same password but different variations, you do not want to use the same password. Because again, once that information gets out, that information is out. And so you want to make sure that you're protected. Okay. So that's number one. Number two, you want to enable or use a two-factor authentication. Now, what a two-factor authentication is, and here it is, it adds an extra layer of security to your accounts by requiring a second form of verification, such as a unique code sent to your phone. So there are a couple of ways that this can be done. When you hear 2FA, or in some cases they'll say TFA, that's two-factor authentication. It's almost like you've got a key, you've got on your door to your house, you may have two locks. And so you've got to unlock both locks in order to gain access. And so for the first one, open the door. That's my password. But then the second one is after I submit the password, then I'll get a code, or I have something sent to my phone, or I have an app on my phone that has codes that cycle through every 30 to 60 seconds. And I have to access that app on my phone, put that code in. Because what that does is, by adding this layer of protection, even if someone gains access to your password, that person would then have to have access to your device for your TFA or your 2FA. So even if you get my email, when you log into my email, you got to put in a code. If I get a text message saying such and such is requesting a code, and I know I didn't do it, then that lets me know that I've been breached, I've been compromised, and I need to take very aggressive actions in getting everything up to date and changed. Okay. I don't want to dig too deep into this because it is a lot of information and I don't want to lose y'all. But again, this is very good information and I think you should share it. Hey nephew, I see you, man. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help you, sir. And so you've got strong passwords. You want to make sure you're doing a two-factor authentication. Now, additionally, I will say before I go into the next one, if you want me to go into more detail, reach out to me and we can work on some things one-on-one. Although this is the platform to do it, I don't want to use an hour and a half, 2 hours talking to you all because my last few episodes, we had some juicy stuff going on. This is good information, but this ain't real juicy. And so, but it's still information that I wanted to make sure you all got. And so here we go. Let's keep moving. You want to update your passwords regularly. Keep your software, operating systems, and antivirus programs all up to date with patch vulnerabilities that hackers can exploit. The same way all of your information is housed online, or you access your information, you want to make sure that your operating system and all of your other software updates are done and your antivirus software is up to date, because the developers are constantly monitoring their systems to see where the vulnerabilities are. And so when they find a vulnerability, they create a patch or they'll run an update to correct it. You need to make sure that you're getting these updates, because if you're not getting the updates, then you're at risk. Okay. And so you want to make sure that you're updating, that you're running your updates on a regular basis. Keep moving. Be cautious of phishing emails. So, what's a phishing email? A phishing email is an email that will come through and it will look reputable. It will look valid. It will look like it's important. But what this email's purpose is to get you to submit information online. So it could be something like your package is ready, but we're unable to deliver it. Please verify your delivery address. Let me help you. There is no package. If you didn't order it, there is no package. So don't go in and update the information, because what you're doing is you're releasing information to a potential intruder. And you do not want to release anything. And these don't always happen through the internet. You'll get phone calls and they'll give you a call and they'll say, hey, you've been pre-approved for this credit card. We just need you to verify your account information, or we need you to update your account information. And, they'll tell you, well, hey, you've been approved for um, a MasterCard with a $7,000 credit limit, but we need you to verify or update this information. Don't do it. Um, there was, I've gotten emails from Adobe, and you all know, for those of you who know me, I do graphic design, and I use the Adobe Creative Suite. I've gotten emails from Adobe, quote unquote, saying, thank you for your purchase. Here's the receipt. And because a lot of times you'll have, and this goes also into phishing, is there'll be an attachment. And so once you click on the attachment then gives the potential intruder access to your information on the back end. And so just the rule of thumb, be cautious of phishing emails. Beware of emails from unknown senders or containing suspicious links or attachments. Avoid clicking on them and never provide personal information in response to such emails. If you do not recognize the sender, please, 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 please do not click the links. Don't open the email. You can, and you have to be careful when you open the email. But even if in the preview it looks suspicious, because let me help you, everything is not going to go to your spam. Everything is not going to go to spam. There will be some emails that will come to your regular inbox that look like reputable, viable, verifiable emails. If you do not recognize the sender, do not click the link, please. If you don't recognize the sender, don't click the link. This is where this gets a little sticky, though, because you can recognize the sender. But if you're not expecting something from someone that you know, then don't open it. And if it's something that seems a little iffy, if you know the person personally, call them. Say, hey, did you just send me an email about a link for blah, blah, yada, yada, this and that? And if they say no, delete it. Don't open it. Delete it. I tell my people at work all the time, if it's questionable, don't open it. If you think it's questionable, don't open it. We had a situation at one job where the CEO was sending out emails requesting people to he wanted them to send them. He wanted people to send him their personal email address because he wanted to surprise everybody in the company, and he was going to do it with gift cards, but he needed your personal information so he could send you the information so that you could get the gift cards for him. Like it was a mess. And unfortunately, we had a lot of people who, because they thought it was the CEO and it looked like his email, and so they clicked on it, and there were risks for security breaches. Thankfully, we were vigilant on our part as the IT department, and we caught it. This is a trick though that you can use. You have to be very careful. So I'm gonna tell you how to do it, but you got to be careful when you do it. If you hover your mouse, do not click. But if you hover your mouse over the email address, there will be another email address that will show up, or the actual email address will show up. Or if you click more details or more information, so let's just say you get an email from info@stepsedit.com. Well, that would be a legitimate email from me from my website. However, if someone is using my email address as a cover or a mask, then when you click on it, not click, I'm sorry, don't click it, but when you hover over it, it'll show you the actual email address that if you respond, then this is where it's actually going to go. And so, these are things. Cyber stalkers and cyber attackers are becoming more and more crafty in the way they put things out there. And so that's why I'm excited to do things like this, because this helps you be more proactive and not reactive in making sure that all of your information is secured. So once again, you want to make sure that you're using strong passwords or passphrases. You want to make sure that you are updating, make sure everything is up to date. You want to be aware of phishing emails. And again, if there's a question about it, if you don't know who sent it, or if it looks suspicious, delete it. Again, I tell my people at work, if I send you an email and you think it's questionable, delete it and then reach out to me. And if it was something legitimate, I'll resend it. But I would much rather you err on the side of caution. Error on the side of caution. Protect yourself. All right, here we go. Secure your Wi-Fi. Think about it. When you're at home, most of your personal information is on your personal computer. Your Wi-Fi and every computer that is connected to your Wi-Fi is a network. And so if I gain access to your network, I now have access to every computer that's on your network. You know what's on your network, on your computer? Your personal stuff. Because you should be confident and safe and okay to leave all of your information on your personal devices. And so make sure that you're using uh, secure Wi-Fi passwords to prevent a potential intruder from gaining access to your system through your own Wi-Fi. Okay, we're gonna keep moving. I'm almost done. Back up your data. This is important. And you want to make sure that you back up your data on an external device. Hold on, I got to sneeze. Thought I had to sneeze. Okay, it'll come back. So you want to make sure that you're backing up your data on an external device. Now, on here it says regularly back up your important files to an external drive or cloud storage to prevent data loss in case of a cyber attack. Yes, I'm all for cloud storage. That's all fine and good. Me personally, I have all of my data, my important files, backed up on an external hard drive. And I keep that external hard drive on my person. Okay. Because in the event that I need to gain access to my information, and it's in the cloud, if I don't have access to the internet, I don't have access to the cloud. But if I have my device with me, then I can go to any computer, plug it into plug my hard drive into the USB, and I have access to all of the pertinent information that I need. Again, these are just little safeguards that you want to put in place. It can be a jump drive or a thumb drive, however you want to call it, an external hard drive, depending on how much data you have. The other thing that you want to protect is you want to make sure you're protecting your pictures. You want to make sure you're protecting, of course, your bank account information, your personal information, tax information. You want to make sure you have all of that locked in and secured on a drive that you have access to. Next one, you want to use secured networks as much as you can. Now, I understand, a lot of times we do business away from home and we can't always log on to a private network, or we don't always have access to the password to the secured network. And so there is a thing. This is another session for another day. But there are things called virtual private networks. A virtual private network, or VPN, is where you log on to a public network to give you access to the internet. But then it's almost like you have a safe in place that your information is in. And so you have access to the internet, but then you've got to put a code in or put a password in to get into your virtual private network. And then once you get into your virtual private network, then all of your information is secured again. Again, that's another conversation. That's that's a class all in itself. Okay. There's one that I'm trying to get to because this is really important. And a lot of times people don't realize this is the one right here. Because a lot of times people don't realize how they're releasing their information and how they're making their information accessible inadvertently. Limit information sharing. Okay. And I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to sit right here for a minute because this is important. Because a lot of times we're guilty of doing things, or we will do things and we don't realize how we're making ourselves vulnerable in the things that we do. Be cautious about the personal information you share online, especially on social media. Restrict your privacy restrictions and be mindful of what you post. So let me show you another way that cyber attackers will use your information. Okay. You'll take a picture and you'll post that picture online, and you're not really paying attention to what's in your background on the picture that you just took. You'll take a picture of your desk, and you'll take a picture, it'll be a selfie, and you have several things in your background. You have things like your degree hanging on the wall. You have pictures of your family hanging on the wall. You have a folder, or you have information that's just kind of open. And although I may not pay attention to it as a regular user, as a cyber attacker, I'm looking at what's going on in your background. This is the other thing. Be careful how you post vacation information. I know people who they'll go on vacation, they'll be gone, and then they will come back and post all of the pictures that they took from their vacation. Because if you are in Barbados and you are, hey, live from Barbados, hey, this is wonderful in Barbados, then you have people who will be watching your live feed and they say, oh, he or she's in Barbados. That means he or she not at home. So I have a few days that I can come in, I can figure out how to safely get into your house. I can figure out how to safely and quietly get in. I don't necessarily have to bust the window. I got time to kind of stalk it out and figure out how I want to get in. And right now, they're not taking TVs. Thieves are not taking TVs the way they used to. Now they're taking computers. They're taking old cell phones. They're taking mail. They're taking and that's the other thing. They may not break in your house, but they may get all your mail out your mailbox. And they may go through and sort through your mail that's in your mailbox. Oh, I got a credit card statement. Oh, I got a light bill. Oh, I got a phone bill. Oh, I got uh, excuse me, I have all of these things that now give me access to your personal information. Um, and so, these are things that you just want to be mindful of when you're posting. And this is the other thing. And I'm posting this. I'm not posting this. I'm giving this message to my younger people. But I'm also giving this to my older people who want to be young. And then I'm also giving this to the older people who have younger people in their lives. Everything on the internet, once you send it, and this is not just on the internet, but via text message, via Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook Messenger, all these private messages and all of that. Even on Snapchat, they'll tell you it's gone in 24 hours. Don't fool yourself. It ain't gone. And once you put it out there, it's out there forever. Okay. So all these, this stuff that y'all doing and, the stuff we be advertising. And these pictures that we send, once you put it out there, it's out there. Just I'm I'm here to help you. Once you put it out there, it's out there. So you have to protect yourself. So again, limit information sharing. Limit the information that you share online. One thing that we don't really have to worry about now that used to be a problem is when you would go to places like Office Depot and use their computer, or you would go to Kinko's and use their computer. I don't know if y'all remember when Kinko's had the computers set up in the back that you could go and use computers, but there was software that would be installed that would record your keystrokes. And so while you're thinking your information is protected, there's a program running that is recording your keystrokes. And then when I see your keystrokes, excuse me, I now see your bank information. I see your username. I see your password. I got access to your email. I got access to your bank statements. I got access to your accounts. I got access to all of that. And so, although it's not a problem as much as it was, it's not as much of a problem today as it was 10, 15 years ago. Again, that is still one of those things that you want to be mindful of and you want to watch. Okay. Educate yourself. Doing things like listening to the Steps Ahead podcast, where we provide you with this wonderful information. You want to stay informed about the latest cybersecurity threats and best practices. Consider taking courses or attending workshops to enhance your knowledge. Knowledge is power. The Bible says the people perish for the lack of knowledge. Get information. And a lot of times the courses and the things that's available to you, they're free. You don't have to pay for a course, or you don't have to go to class or go to school. There's information out there that you can just go and look it up and be like, hey, what's the latest on cybersecurity? How do I protect myself in 2024? Because the way I protected myself in 2024 is not the same as the way I protected myself in 2014. It's different. If truth be told, the way I protect myself in May wouldn't necessarily be the way I protected myself in January, because that's just how fast the technology, that's just how fast all of these things are evolving and advancing. I've been in the computer industry now for probably the up end of 25, 27 years. And I have watched how things have evolved, and I've watched how things have changed. And I know at one point, if you bought a computer in 1998, that computer would still be good, viable, everything good on it in 2000. You buy a computer now in January, and that computer is obsolete in June. That's how fast technology is advancing. And so, again, it is important that you educate yourself, that you gain information, gain the knowledge so that you can be protected. And then this is a big one. You want to make sure that you're monitoring your accounts. Regularly review your, let me say that word again. Regularly. I think I put a couple of LYs, extra LYs in there. Regularly review your bank statements, your credit reports, account activities for any unauthorized transactions or suspicious behavior. This is the other thing that I would recommend. And I'm not endorsing any programs. I'm not endorsing any I'm not doing any free advertising. What I will tell you is consider looking into some of the paid credit monitoring services. I'm not going to tell you which one. You do your own research. Um, but consider, because they will give you alerts when something hits your credit. You'll get a notification when there has been a pull, when something has pulled your credit. If it's been a hard pull or soft pull, you'll get a notification. One of the services that I use, I've gotten notifications about things that show up on the black web or the dark web. The dark web is where all of your information is sold. So any information that is stolen, it is sold on the dark web. The crazy thing is, when I'll get the notifications, this is from email addresses or accounts that I had back in 1998, 99, 2000. I couldn't begin to tell you what those passwords are. However, what I can tell you is I'm pretty sure I did some personal information with those accounts. I'm pretty sure if someone were to dig down in there and do some research, that they could find some personal information about me in those accounts. And so I've had to go in and do the work to figure out what my password was, or reset my password and then change it, and then go in and delete all the old information and do what I needed to do to, again, protect myself. And so when you're talking about monitoring your accounts, it's not just talking about your current bank account, but your old accounts, any old credit cards that you had, any old store accounts that you had. You want to make sure that you review that information. Make sure that account has not been reopened. Make sure that account, that no one has tried to add themselves as an authorized user to those accounts. Those are all of the things that you want to make sure that you're doing to ensure that you are protected. And that's our show for tonight. I know this wasn't exciting at all. This was a pretty boring show, if you ask me. But once again, it was good information. And so, again, I want to thank you all for joining me on tonight. Please go to my website. What I may do is take all this information and upload it to my website. We'll see. I may do that so that you can go back and have this information readily accessible to you if you need it. But please go to my website, www.stepsedit.com. There you will get all the information, all the updates about what we have going on. I announced this on last week, and I'm going to announce it again this week. We are changing the brand to a point. I'm still the Steps Edit podcast, but because of some other things that I've got going on, some things that I have on the horizon, we are expanding and upgrading our brand to Steps Edit Entertainment. That would include the podcast. That would include trivia hosting. That would include any special events. That would include event hosting. That would include providing sound and AV services. You know, all of those things. Those are things that we provide as a company, and so that's what we are in the process of updating and making sure that we got everything properly branded. And so please visit the website so you can stay abreast of what's going on. Additionally, I'm asking you to consider being a Steps Edit partner. You can come in on 3 levels. Again, all of this information is outlined on the website, so please feel free to go and check us out and see what we got going on. Like, follow, subscribe. We are Steps Edit across all platforms. We're Steps Edit on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Snapchat, and Twitter. And so please, like, follow, subscribe, share the information. If it's good content, if you like what you see, if you like what you hear, then please share it. Let's get the word out. And That's it. I thought I had another slide. I do have a couple of things that I do want to bring out. For those of you who have been following, starting in June, I will be doing a Step Set It edition or a Step Set It series. The series is called Can We Talk? And this is a series that is talking about relationships, love, and marriage. I'm in the process of pulling people to be on a panel and working out how this is going to play out. And so if you're interested in being on the panel, go to my Facebook or my Instagram, shoot me an inbox, drop me an email. You can email me at stepsetit@gmail.com. You can go to my website and you can submit a letter there, submit some interest there from the contact us page. You can inbox me on Facebook, Instagram. If you know me personally, call me, shoot me a text message. We can work all of this out. But I'm interested to get all of the information that you all have on what relationships look like in 2024. Because again, the way they did it in 22, the way they did it in 14, the way they did it in 94, the way they did it in 84, yeah, that's not what's going on in 24. And so I want us to be able to provide a platform where we can have open, honest, and candid conversation. Now, please understand, if you're signing on to be on the panel, you got to be ready to talk. And you got to be ready to talk about everything. If it comes up, it's got to come out. We're not going to be disrespectful, but we ain't going to lie on this platform. We're going to be honest, okay? And it ain't going to be pretty, but it's going to be honest, all right? So that's our show for tonight. Thank you again so much for being a part. Thank you so much for hanging out with your boy. I am honored that you all continue to hang in here with me week to week. I thank you all so much for following me. I thank you all so much for your encouragement. Again, that's my phrase for today. The phrase for today is thank you. And so I appreciate each and every one of you for the role that you've played in this journey with me. And I ask that you just keep riding with me. I promise you, we're going to get bigger. We're going to get stronger. It's going to be better. And we're going to do it again next week. So y'all know what I say. If anybody asks you where you get your information, you know what to tell them. Tell them Step Said It. Y'all have a good night. We'll see you next week. Love you guys.